Well, first of all, I would like to ask some questions to all of you. So please, all of you, just turn on your mics. Yeah, great. So first of all, when I say the word Tirunelveli, what is the thing that comes in your mind?
Aruva. Alva and Ariva.
Yeah, two good answers. And when I say Dindigul,
Lock.
Alpakatti.
Put.
yeah, and when I say Kumbakonam,
Coffee.
Temple.
Greek coffee.
Temples.
great. And when I say Parani,
Panjamardam.
yeah, Panjamritam. So now, when I say lockdown, what is the thing that comes in your mind?
What is lockdown?
Yeah, lockdown.
Online games.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
Online classes.
Free time.
Work from home.
Family bonding.
Messed up sleep cycle.
Yeah, next.
Disappointment.
Spending more time.
Games.
Yeah. Right. So specifically, what game?
Ludo. Everybody played Ludo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. That is what the answer that I expected. So actually, we were all just completely busy with our schedules in our life, job, work, family. And when the lockdown came, that lockdown just made us remember that there is a game called Ludo. And we all started playing it. And you know, guys, actually, the Ludo is instantly founded to make people realize that there can be a lot of people who have the thought of winning in life. But in the end, there can be only one winner. So this is just a glimpse of what the session is about. So firstly, a very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and the beautiful guests out there. I welcome you all to the 483rd session of Chennai Speakers Forums Club and the 106th session of Vellore Toastmasters Club. So let's give a big applause for this. Great. So before diving into the session, there are a few ground rules that ought to be followed during this meeting. First of all, please do keep your mobile phones off or put them on silent mode. And please refrain from talking about sex, religion, and politics. And please do keep your mics muted unless you come on stage. And most importantly, please do keep your cameras on so that we can witness your beautiful smile. And here I would also like to tell the mission of Toastmasters Club. The mission of Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning experience through which members develop their communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. So without further ado, I would like to hand over the session to the able hands of today's meeting, the presiding officers of both the club, Toastmaster Srinath and Toastmaster Soum. Over to you.
Thank you, Energetic Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Bharat, for wonderfully starting off the session and skillfully handing over the control to the next player for today's meeting. So today's meeting is intriguing for me personally because I love board games. I love the theme of the day. I found it really intriguing because for me, my favorite board game would be Snakes and Ladders. For reasons unknown, I've always loved Snakes and Ladders forever. I've had the worst luck when it comes to board games, and especially when it comes to rolling a dice. When I have to throw a 6, I would always get a 1. When I have to throw a 1, I'll always get a 6. And it will always be the case when I have to throw a 1 and I should land on a ladder, but instead land on obviously a snake's head. And especially when I'm almost at the end, when I'm going to finish the game, it always land on a snake's head. I'll always go down. But that always kept me wondering, why do we always fear throwing a dice? It is not in your control. It is always out of your reach. the outcomes are determined by factors not controlled by you. But should that really stop you from rolling the dice? I don't think so. It kind of taught me that we have to roll the dice if we have to have any kind of outcome. If it's not in your hands, then all the more reason to throw the dice with sheer vigor, dancing like a dervish. That is why today's theme was really, really important to me. And I thank the Toastmaster of the Day for picking the theme so close to everybody's hearts, because it not just gives us a peek into our own selves, but also it's a chance to get together with people around us. Today, we have a joint meeting with a different club, and we really feel enthused about hosting it. And we feel we are able to learn from each other, just like we always do in a board game. We're able to bond together. We're able to take good practice from each other. I think it's really important how board games connect, just like how the theme does today. Without any further ado, I would now like to hand over the control to our next presiding officer, Toastmaster Saumini from Vellore Toastmasters Club. Over to you, Toastmaster Saumini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srinath. I don't know how the weather is in Chennai, but it has been rather very pleasant in Vellore for the past few days, where we've been seeing more clouds than the sun, which is more celebratory in summers than in the winter months. Most of the times, experiencing pleasant weather turns the attention inward and urges us to spend some quality time, like sit down with your family, make chai pakoras, spend the Sunday afternoons discussing yesterday's temperature and comparing it with today's, and discussing which state recorded the highest temperature, or enjoying a CSK match, or bringing out the child inside of us and play our favorite board games. The lockdown period was evidence that the child inside of us is always alive. And when we as families sat down to play Ludo both digitally and physically. The Toastmaster of the Day today, Krithi, has brought this wonderful theme, board games, to turn the stage into a playground. So to start the play, let me blow my whistle to declare open VTC 106. Over to the Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saumini. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests. This evening was going to be the board games evening. It has been played by every one of us, and some even continue to play even now. Before we take a deep dive in this theme, let's all set our mood for this exciting session. I want you all to unmute yourself and follow me. It might sound a little bit weird, but I want the meeting to be filled with hilarity. So I request everyone to unmute yourself. And do follow me as I say. So I'll start. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know and really want to show, if you're happy and you know, clap your hands. Thank you. I request everyone to mute yourself. I guess everyone is happy and excited now. Let's go from the start. Board games have been played, traveled, and evolved in most cultures and societies throughout history. A number of important historical sites, artifacts, and documents shed light on the early board games, such as Giraffe civilization board games in Iran, Senet found in pre-dynastic and first dynastic burials of Egypt, the oldest board game ever existed. The Go and Liu originated in China. Patoli originated in Mesoamerica. Now coming to the board games, which was originated in India, were Ashtapata, chess, Pachisi, and Chaupar. These games were important in various court cultures throughout India. In fact, Indian board games were in high demand in other imperial courts of overall world. It seemed that during that period, use of a long rectangular dice, apart from the popular cubic dice, was widespread. I'm sure everyone would have witnessed in Mahabharata the game between Yudhishthir and Shakuni, how the board game became a total game changer in the Pandavas' life. Now let's proceed with the agenda for today. We have 4 segments, prepared speeches, then educational session, table topics, and evaluation. First of all, let me call upon our general evaluator, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi, a sales executive who loves to cook and eat different cuisines. In her childhood, she loved playing snake and ladder in her summer vacation with her family and friends after her afternoon lunch. Over to you, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi.
I'm audible to everyone? Thank you, Krithi. A very good evening to fellow Toastmasters and my dear guest. I'm really very happy to see the huge number of participants in this meeting. I have never seen this. And today I'm the general evaluator. Before proceeding my introductions, I'd like to say about my things. Like, it is the theme reminiscing me, my childhood. What Krithi, as Krithi said, it shows I went to my childhood by playing Ludos, and it's my ladder and snack. Ladder and snack, I played most in my childhood days, because you may think it shows up and downs like a Mahabharata, how it went. But the thing is that the game I love because I don't need to use my brain. That is the reason I played snack and ladders. Now, let me start with a quote. Good enough isn't good enough. If it is, can be better. And better isn't good enough if can be best. The purpose of general evaluator is to evaluate everything that takes place throughout the meetings, during the meeting. And I will take a note of everything that happens and does not happen. I will evaluate each participant of the meeting, and also looking forward good examples of preparations, organizations, delivery, enthusiasm, observation, and performance of duties. And this is a time to call my pillars team, that is tag team. So I would like to call my timer, Pratiksha. Toastmaster Pratiksha has joined in Toastmaster recently, but even though she is very bold to taking up the roles, even outside of the club, she is a very enthusiastic person and always willing to learn and upskills herself. Her favorite game is Carrom board. Now, I'd like to call our timer, Toastmaster Pratiksha.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Time plays a very important role in a gaming to set a record or to break it. The clocks used for the board games are called gaming clocks. It is used for a 2-player games or multiplayer games where each player has to take turns in the game. The purpose of this is to keep track of time of each player takes in their own moves, and to ensure neither of the player delays in the game. So is the time in the session today. If you're not wary of the time limit, you may increase your chances of getting disqualified. So to help you with that, I'll be intimating you your timings during the session. Happy afternoon, fellow Toastmaster and guests. I am Pratyusha. As timer, I will take the table topic speeches, ice-breaking speeches, formal speeches, and the evaluation. I will also alert each speaker of the time taken that I have left, using a green card, yellow card, and a red card, which will be displayed in the video background of mine. So you can pin me during the start of your speeches. For icebreaker session, the time limit is 4 to 6 minutes. I shall raise my green card at the 4th minute, yellow card at the 5th minute, and the red card at 6th minute. For prepared speeches, the time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. I shall be raising my green card at 5th minute, yellow card at 6th minute, and a red card at 7th minute. For table topic speeches, the time limit is 1 to 2 minutes. I shall be raising my green card at 1 minute, yellow card at 1 minute 30 seconds, and a red card at 2 minutes. For evaluation speeches, the time limit is 2 to 3 minutes. I shall be raising my green card at 2 minutes, yellow card at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and a red card at 3 minutes. To qualify in your speeches, you need to pass at least a green card, and a 30 seconds of buffer time shall be provided after the red card is displayed. Not finishing within the 30 seconds of the buffer time after the red card is displayed will get you disqualified. I shall present my report at the end of the meeting when called upon. Over to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Timer Protection. Nicely explained your roles and responsibility. Hope everyone understands their timings. Next, we move on to introduce our counter of the meeting, Toastmaster Varun. He is a mechatronics engineering student doing his fourth year, and his hobbies is listening to music and watching movies. And his favorite game is Scrabble. I think he must be a very studious. Now it's a time. Now I welcome our counter, Toastmaster Varun.
Thank you. Thank you, General Evaluator. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the R counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds, including and I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or a phrase. Thank you, General Evaluator, and back to you.
Thank you, our counter, and for explaining our counter rules and responsibility. Next, I would like to call our grammarian. Today, our grammarian is our president, Toastmaster Saumini. We all know, we all have witnessed how she is dedicated to the role of grammarian. I think so. Grammarian is her favorite game, and our favorite game is Snake and Ladders as my wishes, and Monopoly also her favorite game. Without any further ado, I would like to call our grammarian, Toastmaster Saumini.
Thank you, General Evaluator. The English language itself is a play of words, but the play only gets more exciting when you know correctly where to place the words. To help you do that, I shall be playing grammarian today. As grammarian, I have 3 duties. Number 1, making note of the brilliant usage of the English language in your speeches. Number 2, making note of the not so brilliant usage and giving recommendations on how to rectify them. And number 3, identifying the mispronunciations and giving the right pronunciations. Apart from this, I also have another important duty, introducing you all to the word of the day. If you would have gone through the other agenda, you would know that the word of the day is hilarity, which means extreme amusement, especially when expressed by laughter. The usage in a sentence would be, his incredulous expression was a cause of much hilarity. Number 2, the announcement was greeted with great hilarity. The most interesting part of the word is its origin. It originates from Latin. The original word is hilaritas, which means cheerfulness and merriment, and then was later adopted into French as hilarité. And now we also have a word, the parent word in English is hilarious. So the French word hilarité and hilarious gave birth to this word hilarity. Would anyone like to take the word up for a spin? Would anyone like to try use the word in a sentence?
Even the wrong usage of the word will create much hilarity.
Absolutely.
For people who know that right usage.
Thank you, sir. Please try using the word in your speeches. I shall be back with my grammarian report towards the end of the meeting when called upon. Over to the General Evaluator.
Thank you, grammarian. You make our audience to feel feel laugh by using the word of the day, hilarious. And I will give my report at the end of the meeting. Over to you. Thank you for calling me. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi. Let's now talk about the most popular board games played in India. One is Chopper, which has an interesting timeline. It reached its high point during the Mughal period. The King Akbar also created a giant outdoor board game for this game called Chopper. It is also the game that most traditions ascribe to the downfall of Yudhishthir in the Mahabharata. Various forms of Chopper has been flourished in India. The most modern version of this game is Ludo, which was reintroduced in India by British around 1950. This became more popular in a 2020 lockdown. I guess everyone would have played online Ludo during the lockdown. Now coming to the other game which I was talking, which was more popular, was Chaturanga, which was one of the most popular games of ancient India. Developed around 6th century. It started off with a game to teach young princess or princess and prince about the 4 angas of the royal army, which is the infantry, the elephants, the chariot, and the cavalry. This game was invented in India before being introduced to West Asians, who took it to Europe, from which chess was born. The word Chaturanga first appeared in Mahabharata and Ramayana. This immensely popular game has undergone various changes from Chaturanga to Shatranj to finally chess. Now it's time for the prepared speech session. Let's have our first speaker, Toastmaster Karim, who works in a supply chain management, loves watching documentaries, and his favorite board game is Carrom. Before that, let me call upon his evaluator, Toastmaster Srinath, an ex-investment banker and an aspiring writer. His favorite board game is Snakes and Ladder, as he has already said, and why he likes also he has described. Over to you, Toastmaster Srinath.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Thank you for Toastmasters, and especially my target speaker, Toastmaster Karim, who is going to be attempting his icebreaker for today. So the purpose of this project is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speak. This icebreaker is Toastmaster Karim's journey, the beginning of the journey of his Toastmastering journey. And I would like to congratulate him on starting his journey in a wonderful way. And all the best to my target speaker, Toastmaster Karim. Timer, please note that the timing is 4 to 6 minutes. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srinath. I request Toastmaster Karim to pin the timer.
Thank you, General Evaluator, and thank you, Mr.
Have you pinned the timer, Toastmaster Karim? Like, so that you can see the timer cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Toastmaster Karim, the Truman Show. The Truman Show, Toastmaster Karim.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and special welcome to Vellore Toastmaster Club members. I'm very glad to present my icebreaker speech in this extraordinary joint meeting. Welcome to the Truman Show. You can see different types of expressions like happy, surprise, sad, wow, etc. Let's move to the show first to see what the expressions meanings are. Before that, there is a disclaimer. All the story, names, characters, and incidents portrayed in the speech are real. I take full responsibility or liability for any grammar errors or filler errors in the speech. As this is my icebreaker speech, I will share about myself. Who am I? What I know about me, when I found myself, where to start about myself, why I am here in CSF, and how I am going to progress further. These questions will be answered in upcoming slides. Who am I? Myself, Mohammad Kareem. My qualification is Diploma in EEE, BTech in EEE. I am from Tamil Nadu. What I know about me? I can speak Tamil, English, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi, thoda malum, something like that, like Vaya Pani Puri Garam. I'm still trying to improve my Hindi. And recently Arabic from Arabic Kutu from Halamati Habibu. Hobbies, monitoring the world by watching news and documentaries. Strength, anything from scrap to sculpture, and love to do R&D. Weakness, overthinking and perfectionism. So let's start about where to start. My childhood. Yes, my childhood. You can see the tiny uniform, polished shoes, Pokemon school bags, going to school in school bus. Wait a second. This is not my school. This is not my childhood was. This is how I went to school without shoes, uniforms provided by government, and I have to walk 2 kilometers and cross a lake to reach my school with barefoot. And my other childhood friends are studying in convent school and learning abacus in furnished classrooms. But my classroom was packed with 70 kids and sitting in a cement floor. This difference disturbed me a lot and give me a lot of pain. And I feel because of that pain, and I'm here in front of you all in the CSF. My other friends are having a healthy lunch with salads, carrots, cookies in the school, but my midday meal was provided by government. I have to stand in queue to get this food. Finally, with lot of dreams, I completed my schooling and I went to college. Yes, I went to college, and what is bigger than getting selected in campus interview in college days? And I got selected in campus interview and worked in different jobs. Like in parallel, I started fulfill my wish, so-called social status, like what all other do in their teenagers, like buying a bike, getting a laptop, a mobile, iPhone, gadgets, a smart TV, and smartwatch. I'm happy with this, but am I satisfied? No. Then what makes me satisfied? I feel satisfied when I help others. A life and not live for others is not a life, quoted by Mother Teresa. Yes, as the quote says, I want to live a real life. I love to help needy peoples, and I felt very satisfied. And I realized myself one day that I have some interpersonal skills. I want to do something with my interpersonal skills and with my lessons learned in my life from the government school until till the current my working in corporate. So I came across recently a statistics about a gap between a college and corporate and unemployment due to soft skills. They may have talent, but without communications, you cannot sell your skills to the corporate. Because soft skills plays a vital role in everyone's career. I want to fulfill this gap, campus and corporate, to help the job seekers, because technical skills may get you the job, but soft skills can make you or break you as a manager. So first, I need to have an excellent communication skills to educate the job seekers with the real world challenges, what corporates are looking for. For that, I have to first make myself ready with good communication skills and strategic relationship. And if I started my first step and joined CSF to improve my communication skills. And how I am going to progress further from here. I will learn a lot of communication skills, strategic relationship, and other skills in upcoming pathways, and I will pay back to my society in upcoming levels. Stay tuned till my next level speech. This is a true show about a man with a lot of dreams, a name called Kareem. This will all happen only if we join together and to help each other and to live a real life. Thank you. And special thanks to TM Aruna, VP TM Shamima Pravina, President TM Srinath, and TM Sri Abhinaya. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Over to General Evaluator and TM Modi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kareem, for that wonderful icebreakers of yours. So now, let's call upon our next speaker for today Toastmaster Darshini, who's doing masters at Pondicherry University. Her favorite board game is Monopoly. Ah, now I understand why she took commerce. She likes trading as in the game. Before that, let's call upon her evaluator, DTM Selvan, working as a divisional engineer in National Highways, loves reading books, and his favorite board game is playing chess. Over to you, DTM Selvan.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Toastmaster Darshini is doing visionary communication path. She is doing a project which is related to play the real board game in life, to play the real game in board meetings, understanding your leadership styles. The purpose of this project is for the member to identify her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is also for the member to share some aspects of her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. Timer, please note, time is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best, Darshini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Selvan. Toastmaster Darshini, can you please pin the timer?
Yes, just give me a minute. Yeah.
Toastmaster Darshini, understanding leadership styles. Understanding leadership styles, Toastmaster Darshini.
Thank you, Toastmasters today. Good evening, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear guests. Leaders help themselves and those around them to choose the right path. With good leadership, you can create a vision and can motivate people to make it a reality. Says Tyler. Before jumping into leadership styles, I would like to hear from the audience one quality that you think is very essential for a leader. Come on, folks, turn on your mics, of course, turn on your cameras, and mention one quality that you think is very essential for a leader.
Empathy.
Yes, empathy. Any other points?
Logical thinking.
Logical thinking. Any other points?
Team spirit.
Team spirit. Some more?
Selfless.
Sorry?
Serving others.
Serving others. Okay.
Not showing any weakness.
Okay, not showing any weakness. Anything else? Come on, I'd like everyone to participate in this.
Accountability.
Accountability, of course.
Listening.
Sorry?
Listening.
Listening, of course, listening.
Communication.
Somebody told something else.
Communication, especially getting things from others in a polite way.
Yeah. Receiving input.
And ensuring the team gets grown with you.
Yes, definitely that. Okay, so we've got a lot of input from a lot of you in here. I'm happy that all of you participated. Now, let's all have these valuable points in our mind and move further. We'll come here to this point in a while. So there are primarily 6 leadership styles, which is autocratic, authoritative, coaching, democratic, laissez-faire, and pace setting. So let's just see what all these 6 primary leadership styles are, and then we can talk about it. First is autocratic. The autocratic is top-down approach. So the leader, the autocratic leader, makes decision for the whole team. There's no input or output that's being received from the team. So that is an autocratic leadership. What are the pros of autocratic leadership? It's very efficient, effective. There's great clarity all over, and there's very minimal confusion. What are the cons? Of course, it's stressful and it lacks creativity. The next type of leadership, next style of leadership is authoritative leadership. In this, the leader takes the lead collects the input from every member, peer, or an employee and makes decisions accordingly and guides them. The main aspect is that they do not order others. The pro of authoritative leadership is that it motivates members to be creative and innovative. The con is, of course, it's very stressful. The third type is coaching. Coaching leadership style is trying to give directions and support to another. It's basically giving them constructive feedback so the person can work on themselves. The pro is that it's highly effective. The con is that it's very time consuming and the leader cannot focus more on themselves. The next type of leadership is democratic. A democratic leader is one that makes the final decisions and approving the decisions for the team. The pro is that there's a lot of creativity, innovation, collaborativeness, and productivity. The con is that there are a lot of delays, conflicts, it's very time consuming, and there are a lot of confusion in this. And then coming to the second last style, which is laissez-faire, where they let you do your way, and then they come to the analysis part. So the laissez-faire leadership style is where the leader provides the resources and tools to the members, and they don't get involved unnecessarily unless and until it's highly necessary. The pro is that it encourages the person and it also helps them develop trust and it helps them be more independent, creative, and innovative. The con is that it has a very low productivity. The last style of leadership is pace setting. Pace setting leadership focuses on the performance and on achieving goals only. All that they focus on is being effective and efficient and deriving results. The pro is that there's high performance, high pace, high quality, but it's extremely stressful for both the sides. So on all this, we've gone through six types of leadership, six styles of leadership. And what is the one thing that's very common? Now, coming back to where we started the discussion. So one thing that we have realized is that in every leadership style, there's always a pro and a con, and not every style is applicable to all the environment or the scenario. Similarly, when I asked in the beginning, what are the qualities that everyone thinks is essential to be a leader, I received a wide range of answer. I think minimum 10 qualities, meaning which you cannot stick to one style of leadership throughout. So I would like to conclude saying that the best leaders should not just stick to one style of leadership. They should be flexible enough to switch between styles as the circumstances dictate. Thank you. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Darshini, for that awesome speech. So now let's call upon our third speaker, Toastmaster Bharat, a software developer specialized in AI who loves watching movies and listening to music. His recent favorite board game is Dungeons and Dragons. Before that, let's have his evaluator, Toastmaster Sadhana, who's doing IoT and AI intern in HCL. Her hobbies is writing script for podcast and audio editing is her favorite thing. Over to you, Toastmaster Sadhana.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Happy evening to all. Before that, I want to ask apology to you because there is some power issue, so I could not able to turn on my video. Now, happy evening to all, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, and our guest. Evaluation become necessary if your speech want to add up with some accessory. I'm gonna evaluate a person who's ardent one of a special person from CSF Club. It's time to welcome Toastmaster Bharat to give us level 2, project 3 in his dynamic leadership pathway. on the topic of Introduction to Toastmaster Mentoring. For timers here, the speech was for 5 to 7 minutes. Over to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sadhna. I request Toastmaster Bharat, can you please pin the timer?
Yeah, I've pinned the timer.
Yeah, okay. Toastmaster Bharat, to touch a life. To touch a life, Toastmaster Bharat.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. In my school days, when I was like studying 4th standard, a teacher gave me a very nice beating. You might be wondering, why did she beat me for? But she was beating me for being quiet and not talking with other kids in the class. Surprising, isn't it? Normally, teachers beat the students when the kid is talking a lot with other kids and creating a lot of distraction. But in my case, it's just the opposite. During the parents teachers meeting, also a lot of teachers were complaining to my parents that I'm not talking with other kids. And he's studying a lot, he's studying good, getting slightly above average marks, but he's not talking a lot with other kids. That was the complaint. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, fellow mentors and mentees. I'm truly grateful for being filled with mentors in my life who helped me to have a fresh perspective and to choose my own path in various fields like public speaking, leadership, research, and a general broad way of life. So during my school days and college days, I am an introverted person. I will be like a shy person and don't socialize a lot with other kids. So I have a very closely knit social circle with just a few friends, just a handful of friends in my school and college days. Public speaking was a worst nightmare that I had when I was in school. Whenever they called me for some kind of contest, it was my worst nightmare. I even thinking about speaking I'll be terrified. Rest apart, giving my name and speaking in front of people in school days. So when I entered college, someone referred to me to Toastmasters, and the journey began there. I was attending the first meeting as a guest, and I was absolutely terrified for about the table topic session, whether the table topic master would call me or not. So I was completely terrified, but the table topic master didn't call me, so I was very, very happy at the first meeting. And that was my condition when I was joining college. But eventually I joined Toastmasters, and I was truly blessed to have a wonderful mentor. His name is Saru. He has guided me a lot. He had made the Toastmasters journey truly grateful for me. It was not an easy ride for me, but he made it a truly grateful one. And it's a lot grateful to having him. He believed in my ability to express my higher abilities towards others. So his belief on me was a lot greater than the self-belief that I had on myself. That had made me to push harder and to pursue a lot more further in the public speaking area. I make appointments with him. Believe me or not, he has a calendar, Google Calendar. He still follows Google Calendar. His schedule is fully packed with just few gaps in between. So he will pick the gaps and he will call me to his house. I used to go cycle to his house, and he revises my script line by line. He puts a lot of effort into the way I communicate, way I deliver, and the sentence formation, all those things bit by bit. He will sculpt my script into a better version and let me speak in the next speech slot. So this go on for a couple of while, for a few years, and with a persistent effort of mine and from his side, that finally in a humorous speech contest in a club level, I was like delivering the speech and the entire audience were laughing to my jokes. So it was one of my best days in my life. I'm truly grateful to have a mentor. See, a mentor is a very magical person. He can touch a person's life and transform it into a better version. So my mentor also has transformed my life in a better way. So the next moving on towards my research field, other aspect of my life. I was doing my research and pursuing my PhD a few years back, and I had a couple of mentors in my research field. So I was like, I didn't know anything about the field that I pursued. I was from a different background. I am from a mechanical background, but I was pursuing in physics. So I didn't know nothing. I'm just like a kid trying to explore, trying to see what new things that I can do in that field. So despite of me being growing from scratch, my guide has helped me and to let me to explore on my own all the ideas. Initially, I used to give a lot of nonsense ideas. I will go to many tangents and tell nonsense ideas that is not possible. So, but the guide had a lot of patience on me, more patience than I had for myself. So that had made my research journey a lot more better and had helped me to do a lot of new things in the things that I love in research. So in conclusion, I'd like to tell that a masterful mentor is someone that has a magic to touch someone's life and transform it into a better version forever. So the mentee must also take some effort from the side. It is not from mentor alone. It's a kind of like a beautiful relationship between a mentor and a mentee. That is where Toastmasters come in. The concept of mentorship comes in, and the mentee has to take a lot of effort, respect the boundaries, trust the mentor, so the magic can happen and unfold. So that's what mentor has a magic to transform and touch a life. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bharat, for that flamboyant speech. So here comes the end of this first segment. Now let's talk about the most popular game played in our childhood during the summer holidays, snakes and ladders. Let's know how it was invented and why. It is associated with traditional Hindu philosophy contrasting karma, which is destiny and desire. The game has also been interpreted and used as a tool for teaching the effects of good deeds versus bad. The board was covered with symbolic images. The top features featuring gods, angels, and majestic beings. With the rest of the board was covered with pictures of animals, flowers, and people. The ladders in that board game represented virtues such as generosity, faith, humility, while the snakes represented vices such as lust, anger, murder, and theft. The morality lesson of the game was that a person can attain salvation, that is moksha, through doing good, whereas by doing evil, one will be reborn as a lower form of life. The number of ladders, if you have noticed, the number of ladders is less than the number of snakes. It is a reminder that a path of good is much more difficult to tread than a path of sins. Presumingly, reaching the last square, the number 100, representing the attainment of moksha. This is the reason the snakes and ladders was invented. Now it's time for the most awaited session, the educational session on every speech is an icebreaker and writing it is an icebreaker too. Taken by Toastmaster, will be taken by Toastmaster Harini, who's an L&D professional, co-creator of writing community. She considers herself as hobbyist, as she loves writing, reading, dancing, and listening music. Her recent favorite board game is Mysterium. It is, as said by her, it is one box of game kit that leads to hundreds and hundreds of scenarios to solve. Upon hearing this, I was also really excited to play this. Now let's see what's in store for us in the educational session. Over to Toastmaster Harmi.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, for that introduction. And hi, good evening, everyone from CSF and also from Vellore Toastmasters.
I'll quickly present my screen. So you all must have heard the title of the module, which is pretty big, quite elaborate. So in this module, I'm going to tell you why I'm making this claim that every speech is an icebreaker. And also will try to give you, my goal is to give you some methods, some concepts that you can actually go and apply to writing your speech. I try to do that all in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So please stay with me. TMOD introduced me, so I'll quickly jump and then go to the next slide. Let's see what is an icebreaker. What I think an icebreaker or what makes an icebreaker is when these three conditions are met. When we are new, by new, I mean we have a beginner's mindset. We are ready to learn. We are ready to make mistakes. We are ready to commit the time that is required to deliver the speech, create that speech and deliver it. So we come with a very fresh, we come as a fresh slate. And audience is new. Maybe you might have taken some roles beforehand, but still the audience is pretty new, assuming that we give the icebreaker in the first 1 or 2 months, of course. And also the content is new. We definitely know about ourselves, but we wouldn't be thinking about ourselves in format of a 7-minute or a 6-minute speech, right? So the content is pretty much new in terms of actively thinking about it. So when all these three conditions are met, we have an icebreaker speech. Let's also see what a normal speech looks like when I try to plot it on a graph of newness of content and newness of audience. So any speech will somewhere fall in these 4 quadrants. There could be completely new audience, completely new content. So it's going to fall in this top right quadrant. If it's new content and not so, maybe an old audience that I'm acquainted with, somewhere on the left topmost quadrant. This quadrant that you see, it's when the content is old, the audience is also old. To give you an example, it's when we are giving a speech and a contest speech from the last year to our own club. So that is how that's how this speech falls in this quadrant. So you get the idea, right? Every speech can be mapped into this quadrant. So if we rewind a little and go back to the previous slide, there were 3 conditions. Newness of content is new and audience is new. 2 conditions of icebreaker is being met by every speech. Now I say that let us also do something to make that first condition also be met. And why I want that to be met, it's because Toastmasters gives us a very positive place to improve ourselves, to make mistakes, to learn and grow. Yet, when we give that icebreaker speech, we think that, okay, now our run as a newbie is over. Now we have to give the best speeches in the world. We have to be of the ISC level and we have to deliver speeches that will inspire people, make them clap for us. We just put a lot of expectations on ourselves, and that stops us from even writing a speech, leave alone delivering it. So let's attack that mindset, things that kind of keeps us away from being a beginner, thinking like a beginner when it comes to speech writing and speech delivering. Here are some of the mindset which stops us. I'm going to discuss this. These are common resistances that I've seen to writing. There would be more, so we can discuss that in the Q&A session also later on. First is time. I would say that yes, writing a speech is time consuming, but writing a speech and delivering a speech, isn't it an experience? It's an experience of connecting with new audience and sharing our ideas and stories. And don't we spend our time to get and gather new experiences like travel? So when we are traveling, don't we pack our bags? Don't we spend 1 hour in just packing our bags, even though travel is going to happen tomorrow? Then why not for writing? Before the experience, there will have to be some time spent on packing those bags, which is the writing process here. And we'll also see how we can write when we are strapped for time. We'll see that in the next slides. Then the next resistance is that I don't have enough things to say. I don't have interesting stories to say. I feel that everybody has that. It's just we try to lump all of the thinking during that process of writing. So we overburden ourselves. Instead, what if we distribute the thinking into different moments in our lives? For example, I went to a temple example, day before yesterday, and I saw a wedding, very modest wedding. I just saw it. I don't know where I'm going to use it, but I saw it. I thought about it for 2 or 3 minutes, and now it's in my compost, in my brain, and it's going to stay there forever. And whenever I need that story, that anecdote, it's going to come back to me, and then I can use it. So it just takes 2 or 3 or 5 minutes of thinking at various points in our lives. And finally, the resistance that I've seen is, how will I deliver it? I feel that is the second stage. First, write. Even to deliver, we need a written speech. Then only we will be able to deliver, right? In addition to this, let's not forget all the beginner's mindset rules of being fine with making mistakes and trying again and again as if it's our first time. So we have addressed the mindset thing, which is, according to me, one of the most biggest hurdles. Once that is addressed, let's look at how we can write the speeches. I have tried to simplify it for all of you. I have identified levels of speech, or we can also say speech writing. So there could be time. The first level is when there is probably you're new to speech writing, or you don't have enough time. Maybe you're experienced in Toastmasters, but you don't have time. So I call this level testing the waters. It's basically just doing the bare minimum, yet having a 7 minute of speech with you to deliver. It's like making it very easy for you, finding, having a structure and just putting in the content into it so that you just have to go and deliver it. And the elements that it must have is a message. Please remember that a speech is not a speech if it doesn't have a message. It has to have a message which the audience can take away from it. Then the message has to be definitely reinstated or repeated through the anecdotes, the evidence that we'll be giving, but it must be strongly told in the beginning and the conclusion. So these two are the places that we have to really hit the nail in its head. And we have to think of maximum 3, even 1 is fine, but maximum 3 either anecdotes or evidence to support your message that you're trying to tell. These are the things that you definitely need. I have an example for you, and this is the level 1 examples. So the message here is 4-day work week is a must as a new way of work. I've taken such a dry topic just to tell you that even this is a good message. Let's not aim for big inspirational, big life-changing topics. Of course, we should aim for, but when you're getting started, even these are good enough topics. So let's see how I have a complete structure in place with this message. Introduction, it's one of the introductions that I could think of, and I've put it there. I start with a question so that the audience feel, okay, what is it? Let me listen to it. They're asking me a question. They feel more involved. You ask a question, you then start with the speech. The anecdote, I want to give one anecdote, which says that I get the same work done in 5 and 4 days, so I might as well work for 4 days. Then there is an evidence, research studies that I want to show that how 4-day work week has been proven to help the employees and the employer. And evidence 2 is a company that has adopted it successfully. And I conclude, again, it's completely dependent on the anecdotes, the evidences that I'm giving. Based on that, I have come up with this conclusion. So I basically have the structure ready: introduction, 3 parts of supporting evidence, and then conclusion. I just have to expand it a bit, and I could do it in multiple sittings. I need not do it all in one sitting, depending on what suits you. First sitting could be just this, second sitting could be expanding on it, third sitting could be editing. Make it as much easier as it is for you, but it has to start somewhere. Let's start with the structure. The next level is where we drink the waters. We were testing the waters. Now let's just have a gulp of it. We have the structure in place, and assuming that you have more time and you are becoming a little adventurous, so you want to change the structure a bit, or change the language, the way that you're putting across the point. You want to add more aids, maybe visual aids or videos or images to your presentation. I think this should be the second stage. If the structure is ready and if you have more time, come to this. A few examples. The level 2 examples I put just next to the level 1 examples. The message is same. In the introduction, maybe I can crack a joke about Mondays, how much we hate Mondays. There could be a joke. It's not just a question. The story 1, I came up with one of the readily available anecdote for me. maybe I could go and check for more anecdotes from others and then replace it if it is appropriate, adding on to my message. And then evidence one, I have research studies. Now I can think of how I can present it. Can I create a slide deck? Or can I give those evidence which really correlate with my anecdote previously? And evidence two, maybe a short video which I can mail after the speech. Something different to do beyond just talking while delivering the speech. And you can also change the structure. It need not be story one, evidence two. You can actually reverse it, invert it, and say, we start the speech with the evidence and then see how you can fit in the story. So you can do all these modifications as you want to. And conclusion can be another research study and how the future of 4-day work week looks like. So it all depends on whatever content you gather in the first level, you are going to expand on it, present it in a much better way than the previous level. So level 2 is done. And the last level is what I call making the water. Now, there was everything available. We were trying to make it easy for us. We were focusing on us as speakers. Sorry. This is the level where we will focus on the audience. And the audience connect with stories a lot. Stories is a concept, a technique, a tool which will elevate your speech like none other. There was a mistake in the previous slide. Here it shouldn't be story, it should be anecdote. So till now we were just telling anecdotes, but now you'll be telling stories. Let me tell you what a story is. A story basically has a character who goes through a growth journey, some challenges, and then by overcoming those challenges, they grow, and then they become a better version of themselves. So if you're going to tell such a story in your speech, definitely the audience will be more inspired, more entertained by you. It's basically all the things that we have wanted from our speeches in the beginning, from the beginning. So in the last level of making the water, of making our own stories and making a very grand speech, you're going to do all these things. One thing to note here is, try to have the hero of your story as someone else, not you. If you are the hero, it might put off the audience a bit because you are focusing again on yourself. But if you are the person who is learning something from a third-person hero, then it will have a bigger impact on the audience. So look for stories where other people are the hero and you are the person who's learning from them. That can have a bigger impact. So yeah, that is the third level of making the water. Basically what we have done is, first we built the structure of the building with all those TMT bars. Then we put the bricks and the concrete. The TMT bar was a level 1, bricks and the concrete was a level 2, and the level 3 is basically this making the water stage, where we are painting it and making it beautiful, painting the walls colorful. So that's what we are trying to do. And here is an example of level 3, where I have found an example of a character, a person who was previously working for 5 days a week. I paint the picture, I give more details about them, I dwell deeper into that story, and then I try to show how working 4 days a week can have an impact on their lives and also their employers' company value. And wherever appropriate, I will include the statistics and the supporting evidences, which I already have from my level 1 and level 2 work, and make the speech a better speech. There's a few more things to keep in mind. No first draft is a masterpiece. If anybody says that, please don't believe them. Writing definitely needs editing, at least 2 or 3 editing. Take help from a mentor. I believe that we all have a mentor. If you need help in the beginning, at least, and especially in the beginning, you must take help from a mentor. And don't be afraid to change and try new things. As I gave you that very dry example of why 4-day work week is important. Don't be afraid of trying such things. It's about you getting comfortable delivering speeches and going all in and doing a lot of work and enjoying yourself on stage. And that happens only when you will write. So that's it. Any questions? any questions about the things that I covered or I might not have covered, any challenges that you're facing?
I have a question, Toastmaster Honey. I was really intrigued by the phrase that you used, right? Never be the hero of your own story. How would you suggest?
Come again?
Never be the hero of your own story. How would you suggest we try to strike a balance between not putting ourselves on a pedestal, but also bringing forth our personal stories so that we say what we want to say?
Give you an example how I did it. It was a first IAC and I was taking a very serious topic of when my grandmother passed away, how my family came together. So I was telling it from my perspective. I was trying to tell how big a change it was for me. Everyone came together. It was the first time that all my family stayed together and how I felt about it, how it was all me focused. So my mentor told, you are the hero of this story. You are just telling it from your perspective. Change it. Try to bring in some other perspective. Then we brainstormed and we thought, maybe this should be from the perspective or it should be centered around my grandmother. Because she was the person who could bring all of the family together after years, even without her presence. So it was my story, but the character was someone else. And I told what impact my grandmother had on me and on our family when she left us. So was I able to answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Actually, Srinath wanted to ask that question. Srinath's question, actual question was, how should we avoid becoming villain of our own story when we bring in some other heroes?
Can you give me an example, Selvan? What do you mean by villain of your story?
No, not like your grandma stories. Generally, we give stories like we are getting some gyan at the end of the story. We did some mistake. We learned by mistakes. So we become our own villain. So how to avoid that? That was his question. I think, Srinath, am I right? Almost.
In parts, became Selvan. So I think my question was more pertaining to how do we not put ourselves in everybody's view? How do we not put ourselves on pedestals so that people think that we are talking about our inspirational story, but instead we talk about how inspirational it was. That makes sense.
So if we shift our language from I did this to I observed this and learned this, I think we are definitely shifting the focus from us to somebody else. And we are becoming an audience to that person or to that idea that we are learning. So maybe Srinath, does it answer your part of the question?
Yeah, it does.
Now coming to Toastmaster Selvan's part of the question, I feel that so the first premise or first rule of story is that a change has to happen. Okay. If there is no change in the story, in a character, then it is not a story. It's just an anecdote. It's an incident that happened and it can never be called a story. So if the character has a flaw and if that flaw is improved through whatever journey that character is going through, then you have a story there and you are not a villain of your story. In fact, what I feel is that when, to some extent, if we are self-deprecating, if we are making jokes on ourselves and show that we are not perfect humans, that is a better way of connecting with the audience than putting us as the hero. So change is important and the change can be from good to better or bad to good, but always whenever there is a change towards a positive, we are not being villain of our story, we are being the hero of we are being the narrator of our stories, and that's what audience wants.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yeah. That was the answer. Actually, the villain is a strong word. I just wanted to say hero villain, but yeah, you're right.
Even in the movies with such macho heroes, they also go through a change. They also learn something. So
change always needed for a story to strike. Any more questions? Okay, if the TMOD is fine, then I think we can close the session. I just have a last slide to share that nowhere anybody is going to tell you that I'm going to give you 7 minutes, come and tell me your story and your ideas. Toastmasters tells it. So let's use those 7 minutes of uninterrupted time to share our ideas and stories, either using one of the 3 levels that I presented to you. So all the best. Thanks a lot, and over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Harni, for that profound, detailed explanation of all the levels of how to write a speech. It will really help us. Hope we all learned from it. Now let's move on to the another most interesting part of the meeting, which is table topic session. I would 1 minute. So over to you, Toastmaster Vakula, table topics master.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I'm Vakula, the table topics master for today's meeting. Table topics is a long-standing Toastmasters tradition, which is intended to improve not just the members' ability, but also the guests' ability to think on their feet, organize their thoughts, and respond to an impromptu question or a topic by speaking for 1 to 2 minutes. It basically helps in the art of improvisation. Now, as much intimidating as it sounds, I've been there, felt those shivers just like Toastmaster Bharat has. I would encourage each one of you to volunteer and participate in this session. So I'd randomly call out members, so please watch out. But guests, if you're comfortable doing it, do it. We'd love to listen to you. Otherwise, take your time. As far as the timings of the session are concerned, timer will show green card at the end of 1 minute, yellow card at the end of 1 minute 30 seconds, and red card at the end of 2 minutes. You'll get a grace period of 30 seconds. That is up to 2 minutes 30 seconds, exceeding which you'll be disqualified. Now, I'll give you a short tip. As soon as I've announced the topics, you can take 3 to 4 seconds to organize your thoughts, and the timer will start the timing as soon as you start speaking. Without any further ado, the topics that I've chosen for today have to do with board games. As much as I love just listening to your audio and the message that you have to say, I would appreciate you turning on your video and showing us that smile and the facial expressions behind that message. So let me share the screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
So welcome to the table topics world of board games. Let's start with the first speaker. Can I have Toastmaster Aloysius?
Delightful evening, Toastmaster Vakula.
Good evening. Have you heard of this game, the game of life?
Yes, that the life which are you talking about the real life or like is there a game called?
There's a board game called the game of life.
I have no idea.
Okay, so this is where you start from. You start on that card. You're either the blue person or the pink person. And then as you progress in your life, you make a series of decisions, including who to marry, whether or not to take up a job, when to take retirement, so on and so forth. Toastmaster Aloysius, I would like to hear you walk us through your life. Walk us through your life. Toastmaster Aloysius, over to you.
When it comes to looking at life, it must always be lived by the moment. I have control of this second right now. I'm looking at the possibilities of what will happen only today. I'll get up 5 a.m. in the morning. I'll go for a run. I'll go to my yoga studio. Make sure that my wellness aspect of my life is done. Life, I would see it as a 12 circles. First circle is my health and fitness. 5 to 7 or 5 to 8 in the morning, that aspect of my life is covered. Tick. Next, my passion, my mission, why God put me here. As a human being, my purpose is to serve. And I serve, the role is called as a business consultant or entrepreneur. I do that. That's like maybe from 9 to 5 or 6. I make sure that I cater all the problems that my people who God put me in my life, I make sure that I care for them. This takes care of the financial aspect of my life. This takes care of my serving aspect of my life in a professional way. All these are taken care. Through giving, I earn a lot. Through giving, I make sure that I earn in my life that I have the profound happiness that I get. So talking about the different circles that I pass through, the last aspect of my day is where I come in and I reflect and I journal everything that has been gone throughout the day. In my life, I learned that just looking at my life is more than enough. Consciously and mindfully, from morning till night, what did I do with the limited hours that I've been given? Who did I inspire? Who inspired me? Who motivated me? These are all the little things, that little circles that I would say, if I put everything together, a beautiful circle is formed. From the beginning of my day through the end of my day, my decisions are taken through my intuition as the day progresses. Over to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aloysius. That was an amazing, insightful speech. You introspected well, and we were able to visualize the life that you're leading. Next up, can I have Toastmaster Angiris?
Yes, Vakul, I'm here.
Are you familiar with the game of Sorry?
No.
Okay, this is the game in which you get to take revenge on someone else. So my topic for you is, who would you like to exact your sweet revenge on? Who would you like to exact your sweet revenge on? Toastmaster Angiris.
Yeah, give me just a moment. Just 1 minute. Yeah. So who would I like to exact my sweet revenge on? That's the topic. All right. So I think you'll not be able to see it now. So a few years back, if you had looked at my face, there'll be a slight difference in the way my teeth looks. And so it happened when I was in my 3rd or 4th grade, where what happened was I have a twin brother. We used to study in the same school and we belong to different sections. So what happened was somebody kind of stole somebody else's stationery or something. I don't remember the exact problem that had unfolded. But what happened was, so just like you imagine in a Power Rangers story, we had like 2 teams from both sections. Like there was a mini fight that was going to happen. And this happened like right after. So usually the lunch used to get over at 1 p.m. in that school. So after like 1 p.m., we had to go running towards our bus. And that's when these kids from the other section came, and we had like 2 or 3 people from my section. And sadly, from my section, the people who came, they put their bags down and they ran. So I also had to run. And what happened was, one of the guys who chased me, like he pushed me, and the desks in that school, they had this small hanger kind of a thing on their sides where kids can come and hang their bags. So on that hanger, instead of a bag, like I went and smashed my teeth, and then there was a small cut that happened. And I didn't resolve it, like I think until I was in my 2nd year of college. And even till this date, I keep asking my brother, like, why did you have to like have a team chase me and then like break my teeth? For which he said, you didn't hold your ground. So I think my sweet revenge would be on that, not on that person who pushed me, but on my team who kind of ran away. even before a fight was put up. So that's pretty much my sweet revenge. Over to you, Table Topics Master.
That's amazing. That was very interesting also. Okay, next up, can I have volunteers?
Can I try?
Yeah, sure. It's Toastmaster. Who's volunteered? Can I?
My name is Varun, Toastmaster Varun.
Okay, Toastmaster Varun. So, are you familiar with? Okay, almost everyone is familiar with the game of Monopoly. So, are you familiar with this game?
Yeah.
Okay, so the topic for you is, where would you like, from the money that you've gained, where would you like to construct your dream house and why? Where would you like to construct your dream house and why? Over to you.
Sorry, just one thing. In the game of Monopoly, right? Where would I just to?
Yeah, you have the money.
Yeah, and in which place in Monopoly, right? Just to confirm.
Up to your interpretation.
Okay, okay, sure. So it's been a very long time since I've played Monopoly. And my guess is that that would be the same for all of us. Not that we have lost interest in the game, but we have switched to other modes of entertainment. Now everything is on a small screen in our hand. But the last time I played Monopoly was maybe 10 years back. And I don't remember much, but I remember there was this place called Trafalgar Square in Monopoly. So, and back then, we didn't really understand the rules of the game. We just moved, we all wanted the car piece in Monopoly, and yeah, we just kept moving around and collecting $200 whenever we reached the start sign. We didn't know that the objective of the game was to collect, was to buy as much property as possible. But now that I look at it, it's like a very, I would say, an ambitious way of playing the game. So I remember Trafalgar Square as the only place in Monopoly, and I guess in real life too, I would like to purchase a property. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Varun. Next, can I have Toastmaster Saumini?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the game of Cluedo?
Fludo.
Cluedo.
No, not at all.
So in this game, with the help of some clues, you have to guess who has killed whom, with what weapon and where.
Okay, it's Cluedo. Okay.
Cluedo. So the question I have for you is, who in, let's say, CSF or VTC is likely to defeat whom, with what, where, and why? Who in CSF or VTC is likely to defeat whom, with what, where, and why? Over to you, Toastmaster Saumini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vakula. So since we're all Toastmasters, I'd like to give this Toastmaster scenario of contests. Something that one contest that VTC loves is the table topics contest. And in VTC, there are two people who go head to head when it comes to winning the table topic speeches in every single session. One of them is present here, that is Toastmaster Dashni, who's known for who has a flair to give table topic speeches. And the other is Toastmaster Vijay, who's not here, who also mesmerizes with with the way he delivers his TT speeches. So we have seen them give brilliant TT speeches all through the couple of years, and we've never actually seen them contesting on a table topics platform, even on a club level. So this has happened. They would go head to head in the club speeches, which unfortunately they never got a chance to see it happening in a contest. So I would actually love to see Toastmaster Dashni and Toastmaster Vijay going head to head in a TT contest that would have a lot of heat. Absolutely. Ask any VTC member, they would tell you. And see who is going to beat who, and would be giving the judges a very tough time in marking their ballots. I hope every BTC member would agree with this. Over to you, Table Topics Master.
That's a very interesting wish that you've got there, President. We wish to see that contest soon. We'd like to see both these contestants give their best. Next up, can I have Toastmaster Ashish?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Are you familiar with this game?
Is it Uno? I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't know the rules and the
just
related
some
with it.
familiarity helps. So if you were given an option to reverse something or skip something, what would you choose and why? If you were given an option to reverse something or skip something, what would you choose and why? Over to you, Toastmaster Ashish. Oops.
Well, to begin with, I think there are a lot of situations where I guess I would love to have the opportunity to turn back or reverse whatever that happened that incident, that moment. Well, one such incident would be my grandfather's passing, since he is actually the only one person who has really influenced me to the point that I am who I am today. His way of approaching things, the way how he calculated every aspect of life and how things should be done in a much proper, methodical way. I really loved his approach towards how he treated his loved ones, and especially the ones who's the one in the lower rungs of life. And being a headmaster in PK school in Tirumangalam, Madurai, he was the one who actually changed the whole outlook of the school, making it one of the top 10 schools in Madurai itself. And that really inspired me as a person to not only be a better person, but also to help others and become and bring out the better version of the others as well as myself. So one such option where I could revert or bring it back is that he actually asked me to, sorry, before that I have to give a background statement of it. He actually requested me to make a customized car. And honestly, before that, I think that being a mechanical engineer and being a top student, I actually really love making new things. And out of that request, before I could make something out of it, he actually left this place. And if I really would love to have the opportunity of bringing it back. So that would be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ashish, for sharing that heartfelt moment. So since we're running short of time, I'll have one last volunteer from VTC. Anybody? Any volunteers from VTC? Okay. So the expert from VTC.
No, she was just cooking up stories, nothing like that.
There's a lot of pressure on you now. Just kidding. Your topic is, okay. So you're familiar with Scrabble, right?
Yeah.
Can you construct a story with the following words? Child, play, life. Can you construct a story with the following words? Child, play, life. Over to you.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. have you all seen children playing in a playground? It's the most beautiful scene that everyone can see. So have you all observed how children play in a playground? There's no difference that children see. They only see the other child as their friend and nothing else, or maybe rivals, but let's not go there. It's so beautiful that they haven't learned the separation of all the religion, caste, sex, and everything that comes into life after a stage. So what are the things? So when you look at children, there are a lot of life lessons that you can learn, especially when they play, they forgive, they help each other and everything. So one such lesson is what I learned from my little cousin, like I think 2-3 weeks ago. So what happened was, obviously the final exams are over and my cousins used to come to my place, and it's a tradition that cousins come to the other cousin's place for holidays. The same way the cousin came, and the thing that we are used to is that there was a broken puzzle, and I was like, okay, chalo, let's go get a new puzzle. But she was like, why do you need a new puzzle? You can stick it. So there, it's just our lifestyle is different. Our lifestyle has evolved. But a child was like, why do you have to buy a new one? Just fix the broken one. So that is a lesson that I learned. And I was like, yeah, I was the same thing when I was a child. But what happened later? Our lifestyle came in, one's broken, buy a new one. That's how we are today. So there are a lot of lessons that you can learn from children, especially when they're playing. So please take time, observe, and cherish those moments. Thank you. Over to the table topic system.
So the president has to tell me later whether she has lived up to the pressure or not. But it was the lesson that you learned was inspiring for all of us. Thank you. And it'll be a wrap from my side. I do have 7 more topics. So after the end of the meeting, I'll share it with you. Food for thought. You can think of your responses to that question and share it with your club members. Thank you for this opportunity. And I'd like to hand it over back to the TM Modi. Over to you. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vakula, for that interesting segment, which you made us all to play board games, different board games, and we got to know about it. And I would like to inform that I would like to say that her favorite board game was Dayakatte, a game that she used to play with her grandparents. So what can be this session without playing any game? So let's all come have a small game that can be played. It will take only 5 minutes. And I guess everyone are aware of that game. It's called Pictionary. So I'll be giving sending you the words to random people, like who all volunteers. And we have, if you can see, there's a whiteboard in your screen in the Zoom meeting. So wait, I'll share it. Please tell me if you can see it. Can you see? So you can draw here whatever you want, like the word which I'm giving, and the audience should identify what it is. You can text is there. You should not use text and all. You can draw anything related to that word, and the audience should guess it. Any volunteers? Like for example, I'm if the word is house. I know it's a little bit different.
Krithi, only the host can draw.
No, I have given option that you can also, guys also can edit. Try.
No, can't find the.
Yeah, I'm able to.
Is she the co-host?
No, anyone can edit. Can you try some new ones?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm moving my pointer. It's not happening.
Okay.
Yeah, should we have access?
Yeah. Oh, she has drawn. Yeah. Anyone wants to volunteer? I'll give a word.
Are you giving access to everyone individually, Krithi?
Yeah, I'll give word. No, I'll give word to the person who will be drawing link. Okay. In a person chat. Anyone who wants to volunteer?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, Dash. I'll message you the word.
Okay, personally.
Yeah, yeah.
So can we all take a swing? Can we all try guessing?
Yeah, yeah. Everyone can guess.
Okay.
So Dashni is drawing. You can all guess.
Car.
Correct. Vatsula, I'll give you next. Vakula, I'll give you next.
I hope I get something as easy as this because
Yeah.
I'm a terrible
That's
artist.
why I should volunteer first. It's always easy.
No,
Good
this
luck.
one is also easy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so yeah. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Easy. Now I guess it's we all are familiar with the word. Any volunteer next? Volunteer?
I'll go next.
Yeah.
Krithi, can you give me access to draw?
Yeah, I have given.
You just have to move the cursor on it.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Okay, I'll draw it in a paper and show
Yeah,
you.
best. I have spotlighted everyone, Saumini for everyone.
I can't see it.
Okay.
Fan.
No. Think bigger.
Oh, giant wheel.
Yeah, it's a Ferris wheel.
Everyone who can't see the drawing.
Nice. Next, anyone? Srinath, can I give you? Okay, I'll give you.
I will attempt.
He's drawing it. Everyone see.
TV.
Monitor.
Okay.
Computer.
That's computer.
Yeah.
PC.
Yeah.
PC.
Oh, that's a mouse.
That's a mouse. Yeah.
Thank you for stopping.
Mouse pad actually.
It is a computer.
Yeah. Karim, Toastmaster Karim, I'll give you a word.
Okay.
Door.
Diary.
Building.
Maybe it's mobile.
Door.
Book. Paper.
Phone.
Someone said it, I guess.
Mobile.
Phone.
Yes, someone said
Tab or
before.
mobile. Yeah.
That's mobile, I think.
No, someone said it before. Someone said that.
Tablet.
Notebook. Smartphone.
Yeah. Yes.
Is it a man?
Map.
Yeah.
It's a map.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
scroll map.
Book.
No,
Yeah.
it's book.
Oh,
As
book.
I said.
Okay.
What are the two nodes?
Bookmark.
Okay, Toastmaster Pratyusha, I'll give you a word.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I cannot access this, so I'll draw it on a paper and show you.
Yeah.
Here.
Window.
Hey, drawing in paper, it became easy. Wait, okay, I'll give some other. This one, I thought it would be difficult to draw. Okay. We'll have one last volunteer.
Me.
Who's it?
Me.
No, Darshini, no.
Yeah.
No PCs.
Toastmaster Bharat, I'll give you a word. Last. Yes, I have given. He has started drawing it.
Window.
A window I have already given, yaar.
Mountain.
Bridge.
Mountain.
Golden bridge.
Bridge.
Yeah, done. I guess now we can wind up the session as it's getting late. So I'll stop sharing. Hope you all had fun. So now let's all move on to the last segment, which is the evaluation. Over to you, Toastmaster Mahalakshmi, the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for bringing this wonderful game. Now it's a time to call my evaluators. I would like to call my first evaluator, Toastmaster. Oh, sorry. Toastmasters Kareem's evaluator, Toastmaster Srinath. Please give your feedback.
Toastmaster Kareem, you've just rolled a 6. Congratulations on your icebreaker speech. You started your journey with a wonderful icebreaker speech. I particularly enjoyed a plethora of different avenues that you explored in your icebreaker speech, which doesn't usually happen. Let me start off with a couple of things that I particularly loved, enjoyed about your speech. Number one, like how all board games are, every board game has an intriguing title. Monopoly, Ludo, it all means something, but nothing at the same time. Your title, The Truman Show, is an intriguing title because for everybody who has ever seen that movie, they would know what is in store, but we just don't know how you're going to tell it. I particularly loved the intriguing title, The Truman Show. Number two, how every board game that we play brings out the humor in us, the fun element that we have. As in regards with your speech, I believe you have something called as a deadpan humor or a dry humor. I really think that you would go really far if you would explore it. It was relatable, the humor was relatable, and it was hilarity, but on purpose. For example, you started off with how you start off with the languages that you know. For example, Hindi, Toda Toda Malum, Pani Puri Chaye Bhaiya, and how you're learning Arabic using Arabic Kutr. It was light, it was innocuous, but it was significant. I really think that this deadpan humor is something of your strength. Number three, like how all board games bring about real connections. You had a real way of connecting, very relatable, using vivid descriptions and imagery. It left us wanting for more. For example, you started off with your childhood journey, how you walked without shoes, how you have donned government uniforms, how you were sitting on a cement floor. It was hard hitting, was very real. You also talked about your midday meals, which I think shows a different side of you and a side of you that we've not experienced before. And we're really glad that you were vulnerable enough to share that with us. It was a real way of connecting. Number four, your speech had a lot of directional questions. As in every board game, directions are important. You have to know where you're going, where you have to take a turn. I think your speech had a lot of directional questions littered throughout. For example, at every juncture, you kept asking yourself and the audience, who, what, where, when, why? How am I going to progress further? What makes me satisfied? So these directional questions were not only important to you for your speech, but it was also important to us to know where you're heading. It gave us a sense of direction. We were in the story with you. And that directional questions is also your strength. Now, coming to recommendations, I think any board game is void without constraints. Think of snake and ladders. If you don't have snakes, there's no point in playing. In Monopoly, if there's no jail, there's no point in playing. In Ludo, if somebody doesn't cut you, there's no point in playing. So I would love for you to have these constraints for yourself so that you can take the ladder and go to the final place immediately. Starting with the first constraint, we all love a really good beginning and opening. And it's not just important to have a really good opening and ending, but how we do it also. Especially in cricket, if I have to talk about in cricket lingo, then I would say we would all enjoy Dhoni hitting a six at the last ball of the over. And that is how I think you would also improve your speech. The beginning is something that we can work on, definitely. How, what, when is a question that we would like to ask ourselves and start off with. And number two, I would love how you network with people. I would love to explore that further. Networking is not just one-to-one. It is also a form of public speaking where you do it with one-to-many. So I would love to know more about how you are progressing further. How a question that you pose to yourself, how am I going to progress further, is something that I would love to ask yourself repeatedly. So sum up, intriguing title, deadpan humor, real way of connection, directional questions. And for recommendations, I have these constraints, beginning and ending, and forming a networking, deeper networking. And you've rolled a 6 splendidly Toastmaster Kareem, and you're now off to a wonderful start in your Toastmastering journey. I congratulate you, and hopefully we see a lot more speeches like this in the future. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srinath, for giving a wonderful evaluations report. Next, I would like to call our second evaluator, Toastmaster Selvam, to give Toastmaster Darshini's report.
I remember my English teacher, English lecturer in my college, when she was talking, we could not even look out for a second when she is in our class. Kudos, Darshini. You have that kind of authority over the audience. You could view a beautiful spell on audience. Kudos to that. You have proved to be a champion communicator. Let's see how well you played your board games, especially in our board meeting. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, good evening. You proved to be having a good hold in few leadership styles, especially you have proved to be a good bureaucratic leader, especially when you asked questions to audience. You spent long time in asking questions and getting answers from audience that proved you to be a good leader with a good head. We had a few moments of hilarity also. You proved to be an authoritative leader when you had that kind of authority in your language, when you proved comfort on stage, and you had authenticity in whatever you say. And you coached us in what are the leadership styles, important knowledge about leadership styles. And you have also proved to be a democratic leader by including the answers given by people in your speech. That's brilliant. And you have proved to be a pace-setting leader by giving us some takeaway when we go home. What should we do? We should combine all leadership styles and should have a best option for ourselves. That's brilliant. Anyway, any leadership style needs some, fine tuning, as you said yourself. First of all, I want to point out two things to you. Any leader is having a title, right? Director or president. So I would like you to have some title for your speech. And secondly, you could have seen that small note. The speech should not be just a reproduction. I just want you to be a little innovative leader also, by having a connection between whatever you say about leadership styles. That was brilliant. We could, observe whatever you say, imbibe whatever you said, but you could have connected with the things that you see in your day-to-day style. Now, for example, bureaucratic leadership, top to bottom. You could have connected with this, from top to bottom means it is always a snake. That could be our downfall. Like that, you could have connected with the something or other, or you could have connected with some VPE president who has that style. That would have given us a more insight to that leadership style. And also we could have known what kind of leadership style could suit us better. That way, you prove to be a champion leader. You can prove to be a champion leader by giving us more insight and more affiliative leader also. All the best, Darsani.
Thank you, Toastmaster Selvam, for valuable feedbacks. And next, I would like to call Toastmaster Sadhana for giving the report of Toastmasters, Toastmaster Bharat.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Welcome back, all Toastmasters. Now it's time for evaluation. First, let me tell you the highlights. Toastmaster Bharat. The most impressive part of Toastmaster Bharat's speech was your body language. Like, if you notice the excuse me. Okay, sorry for the interruption. I cannot able to open like I cannot able to switch on my video. Still there was no power. So sorry for that again. Okay, now so first your body language. So you brought through your smiley face and it was kind and soft speech till the end, which was creating positive throughout the meeting. And next to that, if we rewind your speech, then the lovable part of your speech was a school memories, which you took the audience from one emotion to other emotion by connecting the way. And it was amazing. And I will give you a megabyte for that. And coming to next is a vocal variety. I'm expecting a little bit vocal variety in your thing. And so I want to give some improvements towards your speech to improve next level. So as I heard your speech, I feel that just if you add up this something apart that I gonna tell you, which will make your speech to next level. So first thing, interaction with audience with some kind of raising questions. Like if you're raising question, then automatically the session will be interactive, right? And you can avoid a distraction of audience from your speech. And second thing, if you summarize your speech, then it will connect a feelings towards that. Like if you're giving speeches, that was really great thing, but when you summarize at last, everyone could remember that. Okay, so that's one. And third thing, like stretches, if you want to give a speech, you have to stretch somewhere and you have to see your high pitch, low pitch level of speeches. While you're expressing something, if you're giving a pictures of your level in like that will make someone's to look over you. Instead of they are distracting with others, like instead of they are talking with others, you can grab the audience attention that time. So that's all the thing. And overall, the performance was great. And that's it. Thank you. Over to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sadhana, for your wonderful report. It's a time to call my tag team to give to present their report. First, I would like to call my timer to know who are all qualified. Timer Pratiksha.
Can you give me 2 minutes to present my report?
Yes. So shall I call next player?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So I would like to call my accounter Varun.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So first, I start with the Toastmaster of the day. The Toastmaster of the day repeated the word this 2 times and used 5 plus R's. The General Evaluator used 2 R's and 2 repetition of the word her. Timer was flawless. Grammarian was flawless. Speaker 1 Kareem flawless. Toastmaster Kareem was flawless. Toastmaster Darshana flawless. Speaker 3 Toastmaster Bharat used 2 R's. Table topics master used 4 R's. Toastmaster Aloysius used the word put twice. Toastmaster Angiras used 4 R's. Grammarian repeated the word and twice and 3 times. And myself during the table topic session used 3 R's. Toastmaster Ashish used 1 R's and 1 and. During the evaluation session, Toastmaster Srinath used 1 Toastmaster Selvam repeated the word and twice, and Toastmaster Sadhana used 3 R's. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Varun. And I would like to call the grammarian Toastmaster Soumi to present her tribute.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Starting off with the word of the day, I was happy that Toastmaster Selvan used it once. Thank you for that, sir. First, I shall read out the highlights of everyone's usages and then summarize the errors and give recommendations in a generalized manner. So the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Krithi used the word flamboyant, which meaning tending to attract attention, and the word virtue, meaning showing high standards. The evaluator one, Toastmaster Srinath, used quite a few words. One of them were intrigue, meaning arousing interest in someone. And then deadpan humor, which means impassive or expressionless humor when the speaker is humorous but is not showing any expressions on his face. Then the word innocuous, meaning not harmful or offensive. Then the word juncture, which means to point at a particular place. Then the speaker one, Toastmaster Kareem, had a title of his speech, The Truman Show, which is a reference to the 1988 Jim Carrey's movie carrying the same name. And he used a quote from the quote by Mother Teresa, which says, "A life not lived for others is not a life." Then I also like the wordplay that he employed in his speech at the end, where he said, "A true show about a man, Kareem." The evaluator too, Toastmaster Selvan, used the word fine-tuning to make, which means to make small adjustments to achieve best performance. Then he used the word imbibe, which means to absorb. Evaluator number 3, Toastmaster Sadhana, used the word mango bite, which is a metaphor to say to congratulate someone on something. The speaker too, Toastmaster Dashni, pointed out a lot of leadership styles. 2 of them stood out for me. Number 1 was autocratic, which means relating to a ruler who has absolute power or control. Then laissez-faire, which is a policy of minimum governmental interference in the economic affairs of individuals and society. Speaker number 3, Toastmaster Bharat, used the word to go to a tangent, which means to start talking about something that is only slightly or indirectly related to the original subject. The education speaker, Toastmaster Harini, I want to applaud her for rightly using a very common mistake in the English language, which is using the usage of the auxiliary verb right after the word audience. She very correctly said audience is new, whereas most of the make a mistake of saying audience are new. Whenever we are using audience, the auxiliary verb is always is. Then she used the word anecdote, which means a short, amusing story about a real incident or person. And the word self-deprecative. We all know that deprecative is act of belittling or reprimanding. Self-deprecation is act of reprimanding or belittling oneself. Coming to the table topics segment, Toastmaster Vakula used the idiom food for thought, which means something that is worth considering or giving time to. Toastmaster Varun used the word vicious. And then Toastmaster Ashish very correctly employed the usage of the word revert. Usually, another very common mistake that we make in the English language is using revert back. To revert per se means to come back to something. So when you use revert back, it becomes redundant. So we've seen a lot of people telling, I'll revert back to this email, I'll revert back to you in 5 minutes, which is a very wrong usage, but he correctly said, I will revert to this. So great job on that. Finally, coming to the places where we've made a few errors and in ways that we could rectify them. Number one, I saw that snake and ladder was mispronounced throughout the session in a lot of places in very different formats like snack and ladder or something. But please, it is snake and ladder. Number two was using articles in a wrong manner. We all know that we use and when there's another word when the next word is followed by starting with a vowel, and the pronunciation of the article the differs depending upon the word that follows the. So we all know that there are two kinds of pronunciations for the word the. One is the and then the. We say the when the word that follows the word the starts with the consonant, which like the ball, the cookies. But we say the when the word that follows the word the starts with a vowel, such as the agile framework, the apples, the oranges. So I hope everyone's got that. And then the word environment, another very common mispronunciation was mispronounced as environment. It is environment, not environment. And podcast was mispronounced as podcast. And then when we another very common mistake that we make is when we are using the phrase one of the. We've seen a lot of people saying, this is one of my favorite movies. This is one of the best dishes ever made. So whenever we use one of the noun that is going to follow will be a plural because we are telling one of the many. Just because we are pointing towards one, the noun is not going to be singular. So it is not one of the movie. I liked one of the movie that he made. It is I liked one of the movies that he made. Then when we are ending a sentence with for, the interrogative word that we use in the beginning of the sentence is what and not why. So it is like the interrogative words are the W words plus the H word, like what, where, when, how, and why. So when we are saying a sentence like, I think the sentence was, what did she beat me for? Is the right sentence, but instead it was told, why did she beat me for? So whenever you are ending a interrogative sentence with for, use the word what in the beginning. So, and another thing that we've seen in a lot of rap songs is that the using of the negatives in close proximity, like I didn't know nothing. Is again redundant. It means you're actually meaning that you don't know anything, but I didn't know nothing actually means that you know everything, because I did not is a negative word and nothing is also a negative word. So you put two negatives together, it becomes positive. So it should either be I didn't know anything or I did know nothing. And then when you're saying as told by, when you're saying something that someone has told, we say as told by, not as said by. And another very common mistake is using can and able together, which I have been telling since I've started playing grammarian. Please do not use can and able together. They do not go well. It is either I can do it or I am able to do it, not I can't be able to do it, not I can able to do it, nothing. It's just I can or I am able. So yeah, that is the end of my grammarian report. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmasters. How many you gave us such a elaborative report. It's really effective. And may I get to know the timer report is ready?
Yes, thanks to Sauni for giving me so much time.
Okay, this is the time to call our timer protection.
Let me walk you through the report now. Congratulations to everyone for qualifying in your speeches, except for the one. Srinath has taken 5 minutes 30 seconds for his evaluation speech. And here's the report of others. For a table topic speaker, everybody has qualified the minimum of 2 minutes, and the two of the speakers took more than 2 minutes. And for the prepared speeches, Karin took 5 minutes for his icebreaker speech. He took 5 minutes of 41 seconds. And TM Darshini took 6 minutes of 47 seconds. Bharat took 6 minutes and 31 seconds. For evaluation speech, TM Srinath took 5 minutes 30 seconds. TM Selvam took 3 minutes 29 seconds, where Sadhana took 2 minutes 23 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pratiksha, for wonderfully visualizing every report. It's nice. This is the time to give my report. As a GE is a role of general evaluator is a mirror to show ourselves how we can be best given our choose and resources. I really enjoyed the meeting with the joint session with the CFS. And this meeting as a general evaluator, it's my duty to give some feedbacks about this meeting. Totally that sorry for the disturbance. I'll start from the first. First, the meeting has started in the time limit, in the time that is exactly 4 o'clock. It's well appreciated. I can say the meeting is well prepared and organized by all the role players are filled early. Flyers is ready without any delays, and also created a separate group to identify and understanding the rules in the joint sessions. I congratulate each and every participant for putting your efforts, made this very successful. Well done and keep it up. Next, I would like to next I'll come up with the SSA. Toastmaster Bharat used his smartness effectively to open up everyone's mouth to participate in this meeting without expose the theme. He spread the energies to the meeting, to the members, and also he done his responsibility very well and sweetly. A big kudos to Toastmaster Bharat for done your job wonderfully. Next, I would like to tell about TMOD. By seeing the theme, I thought Toastmaster Krithi, it is going to be reminiscing my childhood days. Not only she did that, and also the script was very informative. She had talked about more games like Ludo, Carom, Snakes and Ladders, and its origin, how it's implemented in ancient Indias, and how it's renovated in a very crispy manner. And I really like the way she dedicated to his role. Like she kept the background pictures as a board games. It shows how she is dedicated to his jobs, and she carried the smile throughout the sessions. I really like that. I really appreciate for that. And coming to table topic session, Toastmaster Vakshala, big applause to you. I really impressed how she is introduced the table topic sessions. This is the first time I'm seeing table topic sessions comes with the screen like a Toastmaster worlds of the board games. As a visual, it's so colorful, and table topic session are very new to most of us, and you justified to your rule. And I could say
that you initially called the members randomly, then ask for a volunteers to avoid the time constraints. Well appreciated your effort. It's well appreciated thing you have done. And my report for evaluators. First, Toastmaster Srinath, you have pointed out your speaker strength, that is hilarious directional quotes, leaderships, directional quotes that would be very helpful to him, to know his strength and weaknesses. And and Toastmaster Selvam also use that way only, is where he used the new way of expressing his recommendations, like new innovative leader, not recommendation. He used the way innovative leader. And I have some recommendation for our evaluators, all the evaluators. Like you could also congratulate your speakers that they have completed their levels. You can add up in the first. And especially for Toastmasters Selvam sir, you could have recommended, you have on recommendations, that is, you could sum up the overall points, what you speak. You could have sum up. It will be better for your speakers to identify all this once again. And Toastmaster Sadhana, I felt your evaluation is like in the terms of general. You could also, you said that you are using the voice mode, your speed up, high tone, low tone, that you can pointed out your speaker, you use this way, you can change in this way. That would be better for your speakers, for their evaluation, for their next level. Then we had a educational sessions that is very very effective for every icebreaker speech, that is so nice to have in our joint sessions. And I have some recommendations in common, that we know, we all have a time constraints, that Toastmaster, it's a standard to start the meeting and end the meeting on that time. But I felt we didn't follow the end of timings of the meeting. But even though we opened the meeting on the time, but we failed to close the meeting on the time. That is, now the timing is crossing 13 seconds, crossing the 13 minutes later. And however, Toastmaster Krithi did a very very fabulous job. I'm very sorry to say this. It's my role to say. It's my role to say that is, you could avoid that pick some activity you have done, no, because due to time constraints, the table topic sections cross their times. So you may avoid it because most of the people have skipped the have quit the meetings. You have seen this in the chat box. 3 or 4 members have left due to time constraints. Everyone, time is very very important to everyone. We all respectful for our timing. So better you may avoid this. Otherwise, you did a very 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 fabulous job, everyone like this. And every role play in Toastmasters meeting, every roles has its own strength, I feel. And it's not mean it's a very small role or big one. All the role players should at least spend a few minutes to allotted your roles, that is preparing introductions to the team, the especially that attack team. Tag team or counter may have add some new introduction, some more introductions about the relevant to the theme. It will be very related to the team. I hope next time you will do this, you will adopt for this. And I congratulate the timer Pratiksha, because she brings up the screen, brings up the screen. That is, I feel anything is gives the better result
visualize gives the better result than hearing. So she brings that. I really like that. But Pratiksha, you can say you people are qualified. Your use this time in a very short manner, and very big kudos to you, Toastmasters Soumini. She gave a very elaborative result. As I said previously, she will justify our rule. And one recommendation to Soumini, you could choose the good praises words, by not only telling that, you can present by this, you can share this is the words used in this meeting. This is the words, innovative words, you can also adapt by like a visual type. And counter, you also did your job very well. um, this is my report. Please start the meeting and end the meeting on that time to maintain our Toastmaster standards. Uh, over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Krithi. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, General Evaluator, for that profound report. During the lockdown, we have all turned to activities that we can do remotely from the comfort of our own homes. And one of the most important popular activity which we did was playing board games. These board games brought in family bonding. A chill time was created among us. Though now these board games have turned online. I want you all to spend time bonding with family, playing these games once in a while. You will surely notice the changes between your bonds, which will become more stronger. Thank you. Hope you all enjoyed. Over to the presiding officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. First of all, I'd like to thank CSF for hosting us and giving us a very nice experience of having a joint session with very brilliant educational, putting efforts to have an educational session. And Toastmaster Krithi, brilliant job with your theme and having us all hooked on to everything that you told. And the table topic segment again was very amazing, introducing us to a lot of new board games that some of us haven't heard, so that we go and check on it and start playing. So thank you for everybody for keeping it so much fun. The results are here. So yeah, the best tag role player. Yeah, okay. So the best role player goes to the Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Krithi. The best TT speaker goes to Toastmaster Angiras. The best evaluator award goes to Distinguished Toastmaster Selvan. The best tag role player goes to me. Thank you. And the best prepared speaker goes to Toastmaster Darshni. So with that, I think we've hit the finish line, and I'd like to wave my flag down. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Toastmaster Soumini. For my part, I would love to, I'm amazed that so many of you showed up, and it's great that we have a wonderful meeting. And just like a board game, I think it was really fun, and we had a lot of fun together. So we learned a lot of things, and I hope we can do this in the future as well. So with that, I would hate to keep you longer than 20 minutes as per the general evaluator's report. I would cut it short, and the floor is now open for networking. We will all see you next week in our meetings, and the floor is now open for networking.